So how was that war experience in 60?
Okay. So then I was at Nathula. So really speaking, after the 62 war, I was the first officer with his company. About 23 men I had, we were located at Nathula, and 4 para was located on our left to another pass, Sebula, Yeah. Nathula, with about, this was the month of September. Like I said, on the Western Front, huge amount of big battles were being fought. But as soon as the Chinese, one day we were looking through our, we had a high-powered telescope, and deep into the Chumbi Valley, there is a place called Yatu.
Okay.
So we were observing that about 10, 15 kilometers away. We saw some movement, because there was no movement at all. No movement, nothing till that time. And then we saw, gradually we saw some people coming. We saw radio antennas far away, and we reported that there is movement here. Now, the moment the Chinese came within close range, India at that time had a tough time with the Chinese in 62. So the whole nation, they forgot about Burki, Dorai, and all this thing. They were all focused on that small little place called Nathula. And that is where somehow it never struck to me, it never occurred to me. Of course, there was fear, because fear is a natural phenomenon.
Correct.
And when you see a large body of the enemy right in front of you, the next you think about what's going to happen next. And we were just about 23, 24 chaps. So, but the thought of abandoning the post, it never occurred to me. And we had a little conference of our own, and we decided no matter what happens, we will dig our heels and stay here. That's the end. So, first engagement was with a Chinese strong patrol. It was 60 strong, 60 men strong. And we had only 3 people at that outpost. It is called Sebula. It is on the left side of Nathula at a height of about 16,000 feet, 15,000, 16,000 feet. And they came. And as you know that in these valleys, suddenly the whole lot of cloud comes and it covers you. It causes even more, it grips you with more fear because it covers everything. Now there were 60 chaps and we had 3 or 4 chaps we had there. And the engagement started, and the NCO over there, he got a burst on his right arm, and he was knocked out. And the second chap was killed. So then we were left with these 3, 1 wounded and 2 alive. But I told them that the body is not to go across under any circumstances. We won't allow our body to be taken by the Chinese. And so I told them, now 3 of you, 1 chap can't move because his arm is hit with a bullet. So let him be there, and both of you keep changing your position. Go fire 1 or 2 shots from here, then go ahead, fire 2. You believe me that that those people did like that, and they were able to keep the Chinese at bay for a very long time. And in the meantime, a body of about 20, 30 chaps was sent by the CO from behind, and they came running, almost running up, and were able to help them out. But in the meantime, these guys on their own guts and courage, as soon as the clouds came, they just rushed, got hold of the body, dragged it back. So we were able to retrieve our body. And next day or 2 days later, the major fireworks started. They had about 800 men, and they had put 8 machine guns in a row. And it was absolutely takes the wind out of you when in the quiet of the night, Himalayan night, suddenly 8 machine guns open up and mortars open up, and you don't know, you curse the day you were born. But we were there, and so we were going to be there. And we had to take some very, very major decision. I must tell you, one of the decisions was so critical that it depended on just my decision making. There was a road length which we call primary demolition. Explosives, tons and tons of explosives are put into the roadside, And when the enemy comes, in order to deny him the road, the use of the road, it's simply blown up. So they had put enough explosives to blow up about 1.25 or 1.5 kilometer of road, which was cut on the roadside. And the person who was pestering me again and again, Sab, give me the permission, I must blow it up. Sab, give me the permission. And somehow I got cheesed off with them, not for any great military thinking or anything, but I got cheesed off with them. I said, nahi karega, ja. And that's how we were saved. And we didn't blow off that huge piece of road. And that got me a lot of praise also. In fact, I was put up for a Veer Chakra. A different matter why it didn't come and all something. But that was it. And then we engaged the Chinese with whatever we had. But basically, I think the Chinese at that moment of time thought they will put the fear of God into us and we will just abandon the position, which we did not. And that is how Nathula is with us today.
Exactly.
Otherwise, the neighboring past, that is Jalapura, the people lost heart. They came, abandoned the thing, and we lost Jalapura for all times to the Chinese.
Exactly, sir. That's how Nathula is still with us. Definitely, sir.
Yeah. And then you see, by the time we had finished our tenure and we were moving out, that's the time the big action took place in 1967.
Correct.
But I want to just tell you that at that moment of time in 65, when I was there, and when this action took place, there was no media which is not there. Name it, Newsbeat, Time, Live. In fact, 8 pages of full-scape photographs of my company came in the were covered by the Life magazine, Time, and everybody, because the threat of Chinese was a very critical threat for our country, and in fact for the world. So they were expecting a very solid things, even taking the bad course, but luckily it didn't take.
Sir, all of us present here, including me, we were like, I think I'm one of the eldest here, that is at 76 born, and we have not known anything about 65. So how was the general euphoria, sir, of after 65 war?
65 war, it was not the war in the West.
Correct.
The war in the West. Actually, the Chinese action here at Nathula was an attempt to make sure that we do not send any of our troops or forces to the West.
Okay.
So that's why they came over there. They did this little bit of action and they achieved their aim. We could not send any forces that side. The euphoria was total. If for the young people who are hearing me, I just want to tell you that there was so much Josh. This Nara of Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan came then. And the trains, how they were loaded with gifts, whole lot of towns would appear on the platform, giving us tea, giving us some nice eats, Rakis, this, that, and all. It used to be a tremendous feeling to know that the whole country is behind you. And a little more, I want to tell you that they wanted, we didn't have much money to buy arms and all at that time. So they had asked everybody to donate. And I remember my mother, they were carrying a chadar in front of our house, every house. And whatever she was wearing or whatever any lady was wearing, just take it off and put it into that, into the national war effort. So that was the kind of spirit that was prevailing.
It's also all young people who are listening, that is why, sir's time, when sir has agreed to be here in this platform. So make most of it. Just imagine the thing. Just visualize that how it would have been. आज के date में हमारे पास पैसा है, सब कुछ है. There are budgets for the defense. Imagine people giving out their everything for the war, and that's what is the love for the country. Imagine people coming on the platform. So even when we were going for Kargil war, so that the same euphoria I have witnessed when we were taking missiles, people saluting on the road, and that's a goosebump feeling, sir. I mean, only a soldier can experience that. So. So then, how was subsequent time during the Bangladesh war, sir?
So actually, thereafter, we had been starved for equipment. Really speaking, I don't mind speaking around this platform. We didn't have, the AK-47 that we are using today. The Chinese were using that at that time. So you can, and we had 303 rifles in 62, and we were transiting from 303 to 7.62, which were given kind courtesy after the war. The huge amount of supplies started coming from as aid for India. We started getting coats, overcoats, coats, gloves, boots, and things like that. In 62, people have gone and fought in OG jerseys.
Oh.
OG jerseys. One of the Vijyant battalions didn't have even OG jerseys.
Oh.
And they just took some kind of a blanket that they had with them and covered themselves in that intense cold, December cold in the Himalayas. So that was the kind of... So we started getting a lot of equipment after that, and it improved the things vastly. Vastly. We started getting motors, wireless sets. We had never seen wireless sets as good as we got them. AN/RC series, and things improved. So therefore, when we went in for 65 for the 71 war, we were in a very happy state. We were well trained, we were lean and mean, and we wanted only professionalism, and the result was for the whole country to see. 13 days, no other country in the whole world has been able to create a new nation with the force of arms. We are the only country to do that.
Exactly.
So, what I say is that all of you who are listening to me must realize that the wars are fought. They are fought with weapons, but they are won by spirit. The spirit which is there behind you, in you, and that spirit comes when you know that the whole nation is behind you. You are the points. You are at the point for the whole national effort, and that's how your morale goes up and everything works well. So always remember, we hear a lot of even a few days, 3 days ago, we heard a Neta saying that what is this? The present government is wasting money on arms purchases and things like that. Now, I only give the example. You see Abhinandan, he went there, and the Pakistanis have raised their own bogey. And I say that instead of a MiG, if he had a Rafale, what would have happened? The results would have been tremendously different. The pilot flying a Rafale would obviously, he would be so much confident about producing the results that we want. Not that I'm saying that MiG is not good, but MiG is, when I got commissioned, MiG came. In 1963, I have retired for 25 years now. MiG is still going on. How can you have that state?
Very true, sir. Right.
So that is, we require upgrading our equipment, upgrading our skills, upgrading our research and development, and now a lot of things are happening on that.
Exactly, sir. So all my young friends who are listening to this, that many of you may join the armed forces, many of you may become a bureaucrat, many of you may be at various phases of your life in the ministry or anywhere. Remember this thing, we need equipment, and whenever a FAUJI asks anything from you, if you are in a bureaucracy or if you are there, just give, as simple as that. There is no question to do.
Don't have a grudge.
Don't have a grudge. Don't have a grudge.
You see now you are, I think, in Kanpur, or other people are national in, and it is cold today. It's very cold in Delhi. Can you ever imagine what those guys who are in East Ladakh or in Siachen or in Kargil and those places, what they must be fighting today? So if you grudge anything to them, that's a sin. That will be a sin. We have to be big-hearted with the needs of the armed forces, and there's no shortage of money, and a lot is being done also.
Exactly, sir. Exactly. And same happened, that somehow we didn't pick up, or somehow we didn't improve on the situation, and same was the scenario when we went for Kargil also, sir. I mean,
yes. General V.P. Mallet, the chief at that time, he had made those famous statement: "We will fight with whatever we have."
Exactly, sir.
We will fight with whatever we have, and we fought. And therefore, the nation must be very grateful. Every young man and woman, they must appreciate these people who are, for example, Vijyant was 22 years old. He was about the youngest officer. And most of the people who got killed, including the men, were between 19 and 25, 26. I don't know.
Exactly, sir. Even later now, Honorary Captain Sanjay Kumar or Yogendra, all of them are 19, 20, sir. All of
Yes,
them.
they were all 19.
Vijyant at 22 and Manoj, Captain Manoj Pandey or Vikram Batra for that matter. Anyone, all those PVCs.
I said between
Exactly.
Vijayant was one of the youngest,
True, sir.
second youngest. And the rest were all in this band of, broadly speaking, 20 to 25.
Right, sir.